Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the No Balls Cricket podcast. We have somehow made it to 15 whole episodes, which I think is an achievement for us. I'm trying to remember how many episodes we got in the first run.
We got
We
to
may have
90.
yeah. So I think we're in good shape for getting past that this time around.
Yeah, we'll definitely get past it. There's no idiot holding us back.
It's
it's not. It is definitely not a no balls cricket party without a parting shot at Siddharth Solanki. Moving on.
we we will maybe sometime we'll get him back on the show for
We will
like
try and
one
get him
episode.
back on the show. Yeah,
We'll,
I haven't heard
yeah.
his disgusting. I mean, some of his ridiculous analogies in a while.
I wonder what he thinks about the royals. What was it? He had the monarchy. Sorry.
Test cricket is like the monarchy. Genius.
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway,
as well, unlike on the last few weeks where we've had our special chief guests on the episode, unfortunately this week I think both are currently preoccupied, one with sleep and one with booze. Assume that's what Ian's doing. Yeah.
yeah. The assumption is that what else you doing, Guyana, man? You work during the week if you do, and then you drink all the time.
I mean, apparently he plays golf, which I highly doubt that he's any good at it, and he plays cricket.
Right.
Yeah.
He might be better at both when he's drunk, so you never know.
Definitely better at golf when he's done cricket. I'm not so sure. Anyway, moving on from that, it's our second little pop at doing the T20 in 20. So
Yeah.
I am going to set the timer for when we do start.
Yes. Tell me when to go.
Okay. First, but before that, let's do a roundup before we get to that.
Right. We like to do these things in a very well structured professional way.
Yeah. I mean, there's no fun if we do it like that.
Yes. So yes, we wanted to do an international cricket roundup, where as we normally do. There are two international series going on. One is between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, one between Zimbabwe and Pakistan. Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, if you remember, firstly notable because
Yes.
Shakib Al Hasan came into this right before the IPL says, "Oh, I'd love to play Test cricket for Bangladesh. That is my number one priority." Right now, he's sitting on the bench for KKR. For
I'm
KKR or
yawning because literally no one cares.
for KKR for SRH, I can't even remember who he plays for at the moment.
He's playing for KKR. Then he got dropped, didn't he?
Exactly. That's what I meant. He's sitting on the bench. But
Also,
anyway, speaking of yawning, though, you probably would have been yawning during the Sri Lanka Bangladesh Test match because the first Test match was an absolute road of a pitch. The Bangladesh made 540 runs, and then Sri Lanka made 640 runs.
there was all those memes because everybody in the Bangladesh team made either 50 or 100, and one of them, I think Shanto got a duck, and everybody
No,
else.
Shanto, no. Saif Hassan got a duck.
Oh, sorry, Saif Hassan got a duck. That's the one.
Shanto did get a century.
So
Yeah.
everybody's laughing at him getting a duck. It's such a difficult pitch to bat on. I didn't get my eye in.
It was a good line. No, I mean that. So just the top six there. I'll read out the scores: 90, 163, 127, 68, 50.
Yeah, he didn't
Your
get his
nu-
eye.
your number two batsman got a duck. But yeah, then
Imagine, imagine being that guy. कि भैंचोद, पट्टा पे duck.
the other end, Dimut Karunaratne got a double century. Um, big innings for him. But the century wait for Niroshan Dikwela goes on. He made on that same road of a pitch. He scored 31 runs, and then in the most recent in the second Test match, if in case it wasn't clear, the first Test match ended in a draw. The second Test match, Sri Lanka declared while he was on 77.
You know, there should be a meme page dedicated to what has happened in the span of time that it takes Dickwella to actually get to his Test 100. It'll be amazing things, I can guarantee you. The whole
Yeah,
coronavirus pandemic will have come and gone, and he's still not scored a
hopefully.
Test 100. Anyway,
Yes,
Sri Lanka are well ahead in the second Test match.
yeah.
I think it's the third day is up, and Bangladesh at 230 odd for seven. Um,
No. It's Khatam. Their innings is over.
oh, the
251
innings
over.
is over. Okay, okay. Sorry, I missed that.
Mm.
Um,
Yes.
but yeah, so they were Sri Lanka well ahead in that second test. Other little piece of news. Two things. One, Pakistan absolutely hammered Zimbabwe in the first test. They struggled to beat them in the T20I series, but then they hammered them in the first test match. Fawad Alam got another 100, obviously, because, he just can't stop scoring hundreds against well, mediocre opposition. Um, just looking at you, Sri Lanka and England. Um,
Uh,
um,
Babar Azam, on the other hand, got the first ball duck. So
so that is the name today. We're doing that for ducks. Um, and lastly, on a more depressing note, Nuan Zoysa has got banned for 6 years for corruption of some
yeah,
sort. So good
yeah.
luck with that. Okay, that is our international cricket roundup. Do you have anything else to add to it, or should I put the timer on?
No, I think we are good to go.
We're good to go.
Yes.
Okay, very cool. Chalo, I'm starting. This is our IPL T20 in 20.
Yes. So first talking point. Are CSK suddenly good again?
Uh, no, man. You know what? Let's just cut to the chase. They have two good players, right? Moeen Ali and Jadeja, who have absolutely beasted it. And then somehow everybody else has grown legs. Ambati Raidu suddenly believes he should have been picked for the World Cup 2019. He wants to get picked for the 2021 World T20. So he's putting his best foot forward. Suresh Raina has rediscovered being Mr. IPL. Um, Faf is being Faf. Uh,
Faf's been good. He's like, I think, what, third or fourth highest scorer so far in the tournament.
mm, Faf's
Yeah.
been Faf. And then they have that bloody, the Machar.
You're forgetting also before Sam Curran that even Gaikwad had a pretty good run
Oh,
so
yeah,
far.
I'm forgetting. Gaikwad has had a good turn. People did say Gaikwad was going to come good, but we've seen him in domestic cricket and he's quality, man. So it's not really surprising.
Yeah. And then yes, of course, your favorite cricketer has been doing pretty decently
Yeah,
for them.
exactly. He's there. He's annoying, but he's there.
But point being, now at this point in time, they're pretty much set on. They seem like, barring a major collapse, they're going to be in the final four.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's more or less. I think that Final Four, I don't think is going to change. Having seen what it's like today.
Yeah, so right now, in case we sometimes take like days to upload an episode after recording, but basically right now, what the top four is for us is CSK, DC, RCB, and MI. And we
Okay,
don't really see any of the yeah.
1 minute.
We
So,
but
he said that. Now let's just put a disclaimer. We are recording this on Sunday night. You will probably see this video
Saturday Saturday night.
Saturday night. You will probably see this video Monday morning, give or take a few
Huh,
hours, um,
okay.
or at least after Monday morning. So
Huh,
just be aware of what the situation is. That's the
yes.
disclaimer I'm adding. Go on.
Yes. Yes. So anyway, CSK currently are joint top, and I think on net run rate are top anyway. Right now it's hard to see them not finishing in the top four. And that's quite the turnaround from last season.
Yeah, definitely big turnaround from last season. I still think they're granddad's army and they're going to stumble and fall at some point, but they will make the playoffs now, having seen all of this go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, quick note. Right now, they were the only team I think who's playing with a specialist wicketkeeper. Because
Ah, very good point. He has not made any runs, has he?
I don't think Dhoni's done anything with the bat.
Even Harsha Bhogle said that, his batting has aged and he looks a shadow of his former self. But his keeping is the same and his captaincy is still good.
Keeping in captaincy,
Yeah.
his captaincy I think was a little off today, though he got. CSK were just getting pummeled by Pollard, but yeah, he's there. He's a good keeper. He's a good captain. He does not seem to resemble the batsman that we all remember, and may never get to that stage again. But let's see.
Actually, funnily enough, in today's game, I felt he didn't bowl the Machar enough. Because when he did bowl him, he got wickets. So I don't know. Anyway, let's move on.
Yes, I had the exact same question that I had about CSK for RCB. Are they good all of a sudden?
No, it's RCB. They're going to stumble and fall. We all know this. We've seen this script play out a million times before. Let's not change it. They'll probably end up getting into the playoffs just because everybody around them is so crap. But
Hmm.
you know, there you can see that downward trend happening or about to happen now.
I mean, they also are at the same number of points as CSK and DC at the top of the table. So both, I mean, and as you said, you're expecting them now to make it into the
Into the
playoffs,
yeah,
where
yeah.
you know, what happens to them after that. But they've got some quality wins. They've beaten Mumbai, they've beaten Delhi. They're beating some of the better teams in the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the other day I was watching that absolute assault by Devdutt Padikkal. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, no, but I mean, look, without AB de Villiers, an injury to him and their whole campaign will just go up shit creek. So just remember that he's very important for them. Maxwell's starting
Yeah.
to taper off, but yeah, that's RCB for you. And their death
And
bowling is still
Kohli's
their death bowling.
not really hit form. So
No, Kohli is waiting for important matters. IPL, IPL, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
on the off chance he gets into an IPL final, then he might score big in that game.
That is there. Maybe.
He has introduced us to Harshal Patel, who not a great death bowler, but overall good T20 bowler. Um, but I don't think you're allowed to be a good death bowler if you play for RCB. So that's
I mean,
a requirement.
we knew about Harshal Patel for a long time. He used to play for Delhi and he played quite a few games for them, did decently well. It's just that he's on the RCB hype train now. That's why everyone's looking at him. That's what it
Yeah,
is, essentially.
yeah, leading wicket taker. So his numbers have gone up. I think that's
Yeah, but it's as Ian would say, no, waste wickets at the end.
yeah. A lot of it has been that, honestly, and
Yeah.
a lot of that and a good bit of it has also been because RCB played a fair few of the early matches at Chennai where it was easier to pick up wickets. But yeah, he might end the tournament as the highest wicket taker. Speaking of RCB, and I'll move quick on to our next point. But one of the RCB matches, the Devdutt Padikkal match that you mentioned, where he scored a century, also featured the most shithouse review ever. I don't know if you watched this.
I did see this review.
So against Rajasthan, Sanju Samson, okay, so just to give you an indication, they at that point in time, I think RCB were chasing like 180 odd or something like that.
Yeah, it was
178.
about
And
170
they're at
something.
yeah, and they're
I mean, the game was pretty
174
much
for no
gone at that
loss.
stage.
RCB are 174 for no loss. And also, this is a full toss down the leg side. It is clearly not out. Anyone could tell you it's not out. And it's also, there's like, the RCB need like 4 runs to win in, 20 balls or something ridiculous like that. Sanju Samson, please, review.
But this is why you don't make Sanju Samson captain. For shithouse reviews like that.
I don't know. I mean, the whole overrate thing has now just gone for a toss because I think like no one's really paying attention to it.
They've
But
given up,
if
yaar. There's no.
but
It was
but
unfeasible to begin with.
Sanju deserved a fine just for this, just because
I think
the amount of time waste this review was.
I think they should get a review should have a percentage chance of being out or not out. Beyond that, you get fined. Because 90% of the time, at the end of a game, no matter what happens, he may be plumb, he may have nicked, he may have hit it off the middle of the bat and been caught by the wicketkeeper, but nahi, review mangega. Just to waste time. And now you know why overrates go for a toss, no? This kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Right, moving on.
Moving on. David Warner, the big talking point to come out of the last couple of weeks. So I think was it yesterday or was it earlier today that Sunrisers announced that they are replacing Warner as captain with
It was today.
Kane Williamson.
It's today with Kane Williamson. How much of this has to do with COVID? I'm not so certain. But no, it's a big step. They've struggled, to be quite honest. But then they don't really help their cause by playing Shahbaz Nadeem.
I think they only played Shahbaz Nadeem once or twice now.
They only played him in Chennai.
No, I think the biggest struggle, when it comes to this also is that David Warner himself, his batting is struggling, and he's scoring runs at times, but he's scoring way too slowly, and it's holding them up. And I was reading an article on Cricket Info today. The other really big issue is because he's captain and therefore guaranteed a spot in the side. That makes team selection a lot harder
Mm.
because you with overseas players, Rashid Khan's going to be one player. Now that Kane Williamson's in, he's a guaranteed pick, and Johnny Bairstow's been in tremendous nick. He's scored he was scoring at a strike rate of near 200 on that Chennai pitch where it was impossible to score a strike rate of 100 also. So with Warner there, it just the team strategy was by default inflexible because then you can't bring in someone like Jason Holder, for example, because or if you want another spinner and batting all rounder, you can get Mohammad Nabi. There are other basically they're boxed into playing Warner because they can't drop him. And I think now they've given him that shot. They may have only gotten rid of him as captain, but they may now that he's not captain, they can tinker with the 11 because also Sunrisers have just been shit.
No,
Let's be
they have.
honest.
But the problem that they have with, and this is, I see this with a lot of teams that appoint foreign captains, is if the captain doesn't do well, right, it becomes, because of the limit on foreign players, it doesn't justify him being selected anymore. And
Exactly.
if you look
That's
at the
exactly
more,
it. Yeah.
if you look at the traditionally more successful teams across the IPL, they always have Indian captains. Mumbai Indians with Rohit Sharma. I'll take RCB
Dhoni,
as an example because Kohli is there.
Kohli.
Um,
Yeah.
even a team like KKR, for the time that they were doing well, Gautam Gambhir was captain.
Gambhir was captain. Yeah. And even now,
And
Delhi have been
and
doing
yeah,
well under Shreyas and then
Shreyas
Rishabh Pant.
and Rishabh Pant,
Obviously,
exactly.
you've got Dhoni at CSK. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I completely agree with you.
So and I see that point, and that's where, as much as it's a stupid decision cricketing wise, by that logic, making Sanju Samson captain actually made sense for Rajasthan.
Yeah, I mean, I think there it was maybe more bankable that you could get Joss Butler in because Joss Butler, okay, he hasn't set the tournament alight, but he's also not been really bad yet. But it does make a difference that you have an Indian captain there.
For Sunrisers, I want to add a couple of things. If you look at a bowler being captain, because they have two players that they're definitely not dropping for any game. One of them is Bhuvi and the other one is Rashid Khan. So if you make one of those two captain, it might work better. And Rashid Khan has the experience of being captain of Afghanistan. So you never know, it
That's
could
true.
work.
Bhuvi, because that obviously the issue is that he's once again injured, and it's really sad for him honestly because the last he was sometime when I think during this India England series where he was playing really well and he got asked in an interview, are you looking forward to to a long run now in the side? And he's like, no, I'm not because I don't know, I might just get injured again. And I think he said it as a joke, but it's happened.
Yeah. The other
Yeah,
option, of course, they have is that they can make Manish Pandey captain. And then
to be
just
by
set
the
the
way, we're
dogs
going
on
on
him.
about this. We are we are going on about this about foreign captaincy, and I think it's a very valid point. But the point is, they have made Kane Williamson captain, so it's not like they're changing that aspect.
To be fair, Williamson is the one that you would pick because he's the most adaptable player out of anybody I've seen. I mean, it's ridiculous how well he can adapt to situations. He can score at 200 on a pitch, at a strike rate of 200 on a pitch where the ball is doing some ridiculous things. It's not easy to bat. Kane Williamson comes out and he's just so classy, such a good player. It's such a shame that he plays for New Zealand. I would love to watch the man bat more, honestly. I really would. I think I'm a huge fan of Kane Williamson. I'm a massive admirer of him.
No, I agree. I think actually I'll make a slightly bold claim maybe, but I think of the Fab Four, he's probably the best T20 batsman. I would actually put him over Kohli because Kohli at times can struggle to Kohli in a chase where he manages really well, but overall he can struggle a bit to score quickly, and he's not as adaptable. Kane Williamson can anchor a chase and then can also hit at 200, 300 when he needs to.
Kane Williamson, I just want to finish off before we move on. Kane Williamson is basically Rahul Dravid, but in the T20 age. He's that kind of player.
It's an interesting analogy. Yeah.
I
see what you mean.
Dravid could do it in the one-day game. I mean, we've seen him hit sixes, and he's got over 10,000 runs in one-day cricket. It's crazy. I mean, someone of his defensive capabilities shouldn't have been able to do that. But because the base is so
longest time, if not still till now, he holds a record for the fastest 50 by an Indian in one days.
I think
I know he used
I'm not
to
sure
hold.
About that one.
I don't know if he still holds it, but
I'm not sure about that one. But no, I know you see that there's again, this just proves my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what Kane Williamson is. Anyway, moving on from that.
Yes. The next thing we were going on to is um, so a few Aussie updates. One is firstly on Glenn Maxwell, and we kind of touched on this briefly. So I don't know how in depth we want to get into it, but basically his form is tapered off again. But more importantly, Zampa and Richardson, Adam Zampa and Kane Richardson have decided to go home. Yeah, I think with the whole obviously Australia is now in the last few days announced that they're going to ban travel from to and from India. So I think a lot of Aussie players are probably feeling a little bit like they're stuck in limbo. So there's that. Liam Livingston also, I mean, he's not Aussie, but he also went home for out of bubble fatigue. So, and I think a lot of players have now started are really giving the whole COVID situation and how it's impacting them in the IPL and being in India away from home. They're giving that one a lot more serious thought.
I mean, obviously, it's a difficult situation, and I don't think anybody really wants to be there. We're not going to hold it against players who want to go home or, have decided that. I mean, Ashwin's was a genuine concern with so many members of his family. It's a grim situation, man. And,
Yeah,
you know, uh, eh, I don't want to say anything about bubble fatigue, and I really don't want to get into it because we really don't know what's going on. I mean, they're probably in one of the safer environments in terms of um, COVID, because with the bubble the way it is and how safe it is, it's unlikely. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's unlikely that a lot of the players will get COVID. So in that sense, they're relatively safe. But having said all of that, obviously being away from your family for that length of time and not being able to get out of this bubble and not meet anyone, it'll take its mental
yeah,
toll on them. Plus, of course, add the pressure of playing, you know, um, just high pressure sport at the same time, and it can be a
exactly.
stressful situation. So I mean, I'm pretty sure this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm quite sure you're going to see a fair few more. Um, I think the Australians now have no choice; they will stay, but you will see people like maybe the Kiwis or the some Englishmen also leave.
I think some of the fringe players also who aren't guaranteed of games might also consider that what is the point if we're not even playing?
Yeah,
You can't really blame them for thinking that as well, because if all they're doing is just in the midst of all this, they're not even like they in this situation and they're choosing to be in the situation to play cricket and they're not even getting to play cricket for in the middle of all that. It would
yeah,
be a fair reason to go home.
yeah. All right, time to move on because we only have 4 minutes left.
We actually have covered all the main talking points. The one I had left is now a little irrelevant because this is from a week ago. But basically, I just a weekly DK update.
The bottom of the table, he's shit. That's the update.
Yeah.
They're really hamstrung with Andre Russell not being able to bowl more than two or three overs a game.
Is it a case of are they not able to? Is he not able to bowl more than 2 overs, or this just Morgan does not want to?
It's Andre Russell. If he bowls more than 2 overs, he won't play for the next 3 weeks. You know,
Uh,
have you ever heard of trying to refill a hole in like in a dike, but then you put sellotape on it?
what? This is very. You might have to like
Okay,
explain this analogy a bit.
okay. So you guys know about the Netherlands having dikes, right? Basically, because most of the country is below sea level. So dikes
Sure.
are basically these big walls that they get, like really high sort of strength walls that are meant to keep the water out because most of the country is below sea level. So it will flood otherwise,
Right.
right? So of course there's this very famous story where there's a hole in the dike and this kid goes and puts his finger in it until someone gets help and plasters the dike over, right? Because otherwise the whole thing would collapse and it would flood,
Right.
right? My thing is, you try to fill that in with sellotape, you get Andre Russell.
Okay. It's funny. I want to know. I really want to find out how many people understood the whole thing. But
But yeah, so anyway, basically, yeah,
but
it's that. Essentially that.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So also, yeah, I mean, we have what maybe a minute or two. Uh, KKR I thought because of having Morgan as captain, I thought by default that would give them a leg up because I genuinely think he is probably the best, or
Yeah,
definitely one of the.
But
limited overs captain out there,
one
if not
minute,
the best.
no, but he's like captaining a bunch of really shit players and Pat Cummins.
But I mean, okay, what happened to Shubman Gill, for example? Are we now having to look at him as someone who really
It's
needs to
just,
work on
but
his T20 game?
it's just bad form. You saw what happened to Prithvi Shaw last year. Look at him now. There's a huge
True.
difference. It's just
But
bad
Shubman Gill
form.
is not the issue. Is not that he's getting out cheaply or anything. His biggest issue is that he can't accelerate, and he's there, and he's get. So when he gets out, it's because he's trying to force the pace and he can't do it. Um,
Yeah,
and
but
that's a big.
1 minute. First of all, playing your cricket in Chennai does not help.
That's also true.
Okay,
That's also very true.
that is one. You will see a different KKR when they go to better venues. Like today's game in Delhi was ridiculous. I mean, that just them chasing down 220 and the inning that Pollard has played. You knew when he took 2 wickets, it was going to be his day. But
Yeah,
Jesus, that was ridiculous hitting. It was just
yeah.
awesome.
No, for sure. I mean, I think on a so, but what you're saying is on a more batting friendly pitch, there's nothing to worry about when it comes to Shubman Gill.
I think with Shubman Gill, you're not worried about that. The real issue they have is Sunil Narayan is not a good bowler anymore. And that's really what's hurting them.
And also, I feel like the other batting issues. I don't think I'm not so sure about someone like Tripathi. Nitish Rana had one good innings, but then as kind of after that, not really fired. So there
Nitish Rana's
and
okay. Tripathi, we're out of time. So, we'll just wrap up this point and then move on. Um,
basically we were filling anyway. So
yeah. Um, I just want to finish off on this. For me, their batting lineup, right? Morgan's shit out of form. Like, it's just ridiculous how bad he's been in the IPL. And then again, having to play in Chennai will not help,
yeah.
right?
But
And
I mean, on the same pitches, I mean, okay, Andre Russell's a special talent.
yeah,
DK has been hit and miss, but like he's had his good innings. Pat Cummins had that one
but
crazy innings, but also Pat Cummins is not what you're relying on. You're not relying on
it's
him for.
1 minute. You're relying on Dinesh Karthik.
Right, there was an innings where he got 40 off 24 or whatever. At other times he's come in, he's played maybe he's only had like 5-10 balls to face, but in those 5-10 balls he's hit at 150,
He's
200.
great when he has 5-10 balls to face. When he has to do something substantial, is the problem. You are literally relying on Dinesh Karthik to win you cricket matches.
But I think their biggest problem is that their top three isn't really firing, right?
Yeah, but I mean, what do you do? Do you make Tripathi open, back Nitish Rana at 3?
Yeah, I would consider that.
You
I don't
swap
know who they have.
somebody else out, bring someone in. I mean, who do they have in their
I
squad?
I wonder if that is they. I know the team management loves Shubman Gill, and I mean, obviously, all of us as cricket
We
fans,
all do.
yeah, love Shubman Gill. I wonder if they're considering just taking him out of the firing line for a bit.
I don't think so. Look what they did to Kuldeep Yadav, and he still hasn't recovered from that.
That's true.
So I think the team management can get it horribly wrong at times. And I don't think taking Shubman Gill out of the firing line is going to change anything. I think you just need to let him be. I think it doesn't help when your middle order gets literally nothing going. You wouldn't even be
Yeah.
discussing this if Morgan and DK and Tripathi and other people were making runs, but they're not, and that's the issue.
No, that's true. That's true. It's been, and of course, their bowling has also been a letdown.
Exactly.
Yeah, the young Indian quicks have just not really, not been anything to write home about. Nagakoti struggled, Mavi struggled, Prasidh Krishna, who is now your favorite new punching bag, he's also struggled. Um,
But I mean, look, I called it. He turned into Venkatesh Prasad. Now you're seeing the proof. You're seeing the proof. Why don't you say anything more? Their real problem, though, is their spinners. I think Chakravarti is just about okay. Narayan he's ineffective now with the change in the action. That's the real issue they have. And they're very reluctant to give Kuldeep Yadav a game.
yeah. And they bowled Harbhajan for like what 2 games it was, and then they took him out. Which, to be fair, that I think we weren't really expecting much from Harbhajan.
1 minute. First of all,
Not at 40 years old or whatever.
We expected Pujara to play for CSK. Here you have Harbhajan Singh playing for KKR. So come on, yeah.
Anyway,
right. Anyway,
we have ranted on long enough.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's our IPL roundup. Do we have an award this week? You get the honor of giving it if you found anything brilliant.
Now I have to think. I've not thought this one through. No, wait, no, hang on. The award has to go to Sanju Samson for that review.
I knew it was going to come to that. Well, I should say for the last 2 weeks because we haven't done one in a couple of weeks. But yeah, um,
No, but that remains the dumbest moment I've seen so far this tournament. Well, okay, it doesn't top Rohit Sharma injuring himself while bowling,
but
it's true.
that's true. Okay, so Sanju Samson wins the award. Also, before we wrap this up, I have one question to ask you. You realize Mumbai Indians decided to play Dhaval Kulkarni today?
I know. I was very surprised by that.
What joy! But suddenly they decided कि no, Jayant Yadav has had enough games. उसको निकालो. ये लो.
I think so. And when he bowled, I heard on the I heard on comms that apparently he's the only player to have bowled in every single edition of the IPL. So maybe they just decided कि अच्छा there's this record, so उसके लिए let's give him one game so he gets the record.
Just like Ryan Giggs used to have that record of having scored in every Premier League season.
I was literally thinking of him.
So, Dhaval Kulkarni. Oh God. On that very happy note, it is time to end. It's been a short, sharp one. I like this new format of us.
Yeah.
If you are watching on YouTube, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell,
Hit
which
that
is floating around
revolving
somewhere. Also, don't forget to
yeah.
say cheese. Um, have to shoehorn that in somewhere. Right?
Ian won't let us live that down.
No. I'll shoehorn this into the end of this clip as well. And also, if you're listening to us, then we are on every single platform conceived to mankind. No, I'm just messing with you. We're on 5 at least. And there's some others that apparently I don't know of that Anchor puts you on.
Yeah, so basically Anchor puts you on, I think, Podcast Addict or something.
Podcast Addict, I put us on.
Pocket Cast, something like that. Anyway,
Anyway,
the ones you have to remember is we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Anchor, we're on Podcast Addict. We are on, I think, Pocket Cast or something like that.
Okay, so slightly more irrelevant ones, but remember the main 5: Google, Spotify, Apple, Podcast Addict, and Anchor. And
Anchor,
of course, please subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us, read the blog, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. The handles are up at No Balls Cricket. And have a good evening.
Yes.